Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. The Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network can be heard on Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. We're on Podcast Addict. We're on Spotify, Castbox. We're on TuneIn, Google Podcasts. We're on YouTube, on my Gary Williams page. We're on Facebook, on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network page on Facebook. And we're on my Twitter page at Digital25. So, a lot of places you can hear the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network, and also you can contact Alexa and say, Alexa, please play Boxing Along the Beltway, and it'll play for you as well. We have a lot to get to this week. We are very, very loaded. For the first time in a while, we are loaded with a lot of things going on this week. We got an update. We got a result to talk about of one of our Beltway boxers competing in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We have got a lot of changes and some additions to the April schedule. Of course, we gave the April schedule our last podcast, but we have a lot of changes and, again, some additions to that as well. We're going to talk about the amateurs for the first time in a while, as they won a number of Beltway amateurs won a number of titles at the recent USA National Championships in Shreveport, Louisiana. We're going to have funeral services announcement for one of the legendary boxers who passed away. We talked about him last time as well. And I do want to give a tribute to a newscaster here in this city, in Washington, D.C., in the Washington, D.C. area, who really helped me get up in the mornings especially when I was in a teaching position. I used to be a teacher, and he really helped me get my day started in the morning. And he recently passed away, and I want to talk about him as well. Oh, one other thing we do have also, we have a major story that's developing. We don't know when it has to come to fruition, but one of our local boxers is looking at a big possibility of a big bout coming up in the not too distant future. So we'll talk more about that as well. The Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network, brought to you as always by Real-Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, shoulder pain, muscle strain, everything in between. Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief, now endorsed by two-time world heavyweight champion Big George Foreman. So try his knockout plan for Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. She has great weight loss tips, great jewelry, and great training methods. All at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Well, we start our podcast with a tough loss for one of our locals, Glen Burnie, Maryland lightweight, the Red Comet, Dante Cox. He lost by third round TKO to Nahir Albright of Sicklerville, New Jersey. That was on Saturday, April the 3rd at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Cox couldn't get going in this bout. He was dropped twice in the second round, and as Albright was putting on that pressure in the third round, the bout was stopped at 2:53 of the third. So a tough loss for Dante Cox. He's now 6-2, 4 KOs. Albright's 11-1, 5 KOs. So he did kind of step up a little bit, but it was a tough one for him as well. We've heard also that Manzaboy Conde won by third round TKO in his bout. I believe it was in South Carolina, and we don't have the details on that, but we heard he did win. So congratulations to the Punisher, Manzaboy Conde. Now, of course, last week we gave you the updates on the April schedule, but as always happens, some more get added to it. Some boxers change, different bouts, different locations. So we have to update them. We have to do that this time because there are a lot of updates and changes to the April schedule. And a lot of them take place coming up this Saturday, April 10th. First at the Osage Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I believe that's pronounced Osage. I'm not exactly sure. Troy Transformer Isley, the middleweight from Alexander, Virginia. He'll be in a 4-round contest against Laquan Evans of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, Isley made a successful pro debut back on February 13th. He won a 4-round unanimous decision over Brian Costello in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, Evans, who's 4-1, 2 KOs, has not fought since March of 2020 when he scored a 4th-round TKO over the debuting Anthony Young in Philadelphia. Now, this bout is a part of the card that takes place at the Osage Casino between Joe Smith Jr. and Maxim Vlasov for the vacant WBO light heavyweight title. So that bout will be on ESPN. So it's a possibility that Isley's bout could be streamed on ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus is planning to carry the card as well. So it's a possibility that Isley's bout will be on ESPN Plus on Saturday, April the 10th. Once again, Troy Transformer Isley taking on Laquan Evans of Philadelphia. That'll be at the Osage Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that's on Saturday, April the 10th. Also on Saturday, April the 10th. Now, we told you about a card that's going to take place at the Thomas Gymnastics Training Center in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And we talked about how Jesse the Beast Nicola will return on that card in the 6th-round bout against Juan Celine Zapata of the Bronx, New York, by way of Honduras. So we talked about that last week. Jesse the Beast Nicola, just to recap, has a record of 27. I'm going through my notes here. Excuse me. Going through my notes. 27, 10-3 with 9 KOs. Hasn't fought since he lost by first round TKO to Damon Nicholson back on March 29th, 2019 at the Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. Zapata is 6-17-2 with 4 KOs. He's lost his last 5 bouts all by knockout. Now comes word that 3 other Beltway boxers will join him on that card. One of the ones will be Baltimore, Maryland super featherweight Malik King Warren. He'll be in his first 6th-round contest. He'll take on Cameron Kane of Jeffersonville, Indiana. Warren is 4-0, all 4 of his wins by knockout, coming off a first-round TKO over Dreon Merriweather. That was on February 20th in Greenville, South Carolina. Meanwhile, Kane, who lost his first 12 bouts, finally won one. He won his first bout in his last outing, a 4-round unanimous decision over John Pitts on March 6th in Louisville, Kentucky. So Malik Warren, signed by Mayweather Promotions, he'll take on Cameron Kane of Jeffersonville, Indiana. That'll be on this card at the Thomas Gymnastics Training Center in Rock Hill, South Carolina on April 10th. Also on this card, Oxon Hill, Maryland, welterweight Akeem Action Jackson. He is going to make a very quick return to action when he takes on Tawan Wooden of Wilson, North Carolina. Jackson is 3-2, all 3 of his wins by knockout. He just fought on March 26th and scored a first-round knockout over Javari Artis in another location, different location in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Now, all 3 of Jackson's knockouts have come in the first round. And that does not bode well for Tawan Wooten, because Wooten, who's 0-2, he has yet to get out of the first round. So we'll see what happens there. Akeem Action Jackson battling Tawan Wooten on this card in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Also on the card, Atlanta, Maryland light heavyweight Aaron the Wolf Thorne III. He'll return to action in a 4-rounder against an opponent to be determined. Thorne is 2-0, 1 win by knockout. He hasn't fought since September 2020. He won a 4-round unanimous decision over Theron Smalls in another location in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So those are the 4 bouts that'll be on the card at the Thomas Gymnastics Training Center in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Jesse Bisnico, Malik King Warren, Akeem Action Jackson, and Aaron the Wolf Thorne, all on that card in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Now, we originally told you that Baltimore, Maryland super welterweight Sharif C3 Rahman was going to be on a card on Friday, April 23rd in South Haven, Mississippi. Now, as of right now, BoxRec still has him on that card, but we've been told that Sharif C3 Rahman has been moved to a card that'll be on Saturday, April 17th at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And no word on his opponent on that card as well. There wasn't any word on the opponent in South Haven, Mississippi either, but he's scheduled to be in a 4-round bout on that card. Now, Rahman last fought on February the 6th. He won by 3rd round TKO over Vladimir Hicento in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, another Beltway boxer will be on that card, Annapolis, Maryland super lightweight David the Demolisher Virus Pena. He'll be looking for his first pro win. He's 0-4 against Antonio Allen of Philadelphia on a 4-round bout on this card. That's on April 17th at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, also on Saturday, April 17th at the Sports Zone in Deary, New Hampshire, there's a possibility that Frederick, Maryland cruiserweight Larry Hitman Pryor may have a different opponent for this bout, for this card. Now, BoxRec which I get most of my information from. Still has Scott Lampert as the opponent for Pride in a rematch for the vacant New Hampshire State Cruiserweight title. But there's another good blog, a really nice blog done by my good friend Dan Rayfield, formerly of ESPN and formerly of USA Today. He has a blog called Fight Freaks Unite. He does an outstanding job with this blog. He gives you schedules. He gives you updates. He gives you a down memory lane segment where he posts some of his memorabilia from some of the bouts that he's covered over the years. And it's really a lot of fun to read. It's called Fight Freaks Unite. And that blog has Pride facing Jake Paradise of Worcester, Massachusetts. He's 3-2. All three of his win by knockout in about scheduled 6 rounds. Now, Paradise has not fought since February of 2020 when he won by second round TKO over Rogerio Dionizio. That's what it is. Dionizio of Worcester, Massachusetts. So we'll see what happens there. No question about that. So Larry Hitman Pride may have either Scott Lampert as his opponent or Jake Paradise on his opponent on Saturday, April 17th at the Sports Zone in Derry, New Hampshire. So those are some of the changes that have taken place, and additions that have taken place in the schedule. Now, there could be one more, though. And this one is an interesting story. There's a Beltway boxer who has been mentioned for a big contest on Saturday, April 24th at the Don Haskins Center. That's on the campus of the University of Texas, El Paso in El Paso, Texas. Don Haskins was the incredible coach of the University of Texas, El Paso. In fact, he was the one when University of Texas, El Paso was known as Texas Western, won the 1966 NCAA championship with 5 black players as starters. So that's it's been made into a movie, Glory Road and all that. But that's where it's going to be, the Don Haskins Center at University of Texas, El Paso in El Paso, Texas. Now, on this card, former WBO super welterweight champion Jaime Munguia was originally scheduled to take on Maciej Sulicki of Poland in the 12-round bout that was on main event that was on that card. It's supposed to be for the WBO International Super Welterweight Championship. But Sulicki withdrew from this bout after suffering a back injury in a sparring session last week. Now, the promoters for this card are Golden Boy Promotions, and they're proposing that a local boxer take his place. He's promoted by Golden Boy. He's undefeated. His name is Demetrius Big Meech Ballard out of Temple Hills, Maryland. Ballard is 20-0-1, 13 KOs, but he hasn't fought since December 2019 when he battled Yamaguchi Falcao to a 10-round majority draw. That was in Costa Mesa, California. And actually, Ballard had been winless in his last 2 bouts, even though he's still undefeated. He had a draw in that last bout, but the bout prior to that ended in a 3rd round no contest when he and his opponent clashed heads, and his opponent had a cut over his eye. And that bout was stopped in the 3rd round, and it was no contest. So Ballard could use a win, even though he's undefeated. He could use a win, and it'll be a tough one against Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia is 36-0 with 29 knockouts. He last fought in October 2020 in a contest and won in a contest in Indio, California. His opponent, Turiano Johnson, could not continue after suffering an injury to his lip in the 6th round. So that's the situation. Now, the Zone, who is streaming this bout, has to approve Ballard as an opponent for Jaime Munguia. And I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, he's undefeated. He's fought good people. He's a great boxer, fun to watch. He's dropping down from super middleweight to middleweight. And so I don't see why they would not approve Demetrius Ballard. It should be an interesting bout. No question about that if it takes place. That should be a very interesting bout. So we're looking for that on April 24th, because April 24th is a big night because that's when Damon Nicholson battles Edgar Berlanga coming up on April 24th. That bout will be televised by ESPN. And that'll be from the Silver Spurs Arena in Kissimmee, Florida. Of course, a lot going on this coming week. We're talking about Saturday, April 10th in Vero Beach, Florida. Upper Marlboro, Maryland heavyweight Mike Silverback Balgan. He's going to be an 8-round contest against Keith No Holds Bar of Glenville, West Virginia. Balgan's undefeated, 16-0, 12 KOs. Bars 2013 and won 8 KOs. Talked about that last week. Also talked about Lorenzo Truck Simpson on Saturday, April 17th at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. He'll be in an 8-round bout against Francisco Emmanuel Torres of Buenos Aires, Argentina. Simpson 9-0, 5 KOs. And Torres is 16-3 with 5 KOs. So with a lot to go to. We got a lot going on here in the Beltway. And unfortunately not in the Beltway. Although my good buddy Henry Discombobulating Jones is saying there may be something down the pike in D.C. sometime soon. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Also can't forget about the card, the Jetta Promotions card that'll be at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on Saturday, April 24th. A number of Beltway boxers on this card. Kobe Madison, who's 18-2, 5 KOs. Gwynn Oak, Maryland. He's out of Owings Mills, Maryland. Gwynn Oak, Maryland, lightweight. Brandon Hitter Chambers, 3-0, 1 KO. Germantown, Maryland's featherweight, Ibrima Jawara, 4-1, 1 KO. The returning Baltimore, Maryland middleweight, Stefan the Surgeon Morris, 4-1, 3 KOs. And 2 boxers making their pro debuts, Baltimore heavyweight Evan Harker and Forestville, Maryland, Jaquim Hutchinson. Also on Saturday, April 24th in Vienna, West Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland super welterweight Bazooka Joe Veazey will be in the 4th round against opponent to be determined. Veazey's 2-0, 1 KO. And also Baltimore's Terrell Boyd will make his pro debut on this card against Jonathan Cooper, who's 0-3. So a lot to talk about in the next couple of weeks as far as the schedule is concerned. We'll keep you updated as we go along. Now, coming up this next week, there'll be the funeral services for truly one of the great legends of Beltway boxing, Jamal Hinton Sr. We talked about him a lot last week, former WBC Continental Americas champion, and a really, really great person. Great to talk to. And again, a lot of people have been talking about him over the last couple weeks since his passing. Automobile accident recently. A lot of people have talked about the smile that he had. He talked about his great smile while he was boxing. I mean, not when I say while he was boxing, during his time as a boxer. And of course, later on in life, I got a chance to talk to him more, and he just had a wonderful smile, and people remember that. And of course, one of the most talented boxers ever come out of the Beltway, no question about that. The funeral arrangements has been announced for him, Jamal Hinton Sr., and here's what we're going to deal with. There'll be a public viewing and visitation on Wednesday, April 14th, and that'll be from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Unity Presbyterian Church. That's located at 4401 Brinkley Road in Temple Hills, Maryland. So you're in the area, might want to try to drop by between 7 and 9 p.m. That'll be the public viewing and visitation on Wednesday, April 14th at the Unity Presbyterian Church located at 4401 Brinkley Road in Temple Hills, Maryland. It'll begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, the service will be on Thursday, April 15th from 10 a.m. to noon. Now, the service will be private, but it will also be live streamed, probably from the church website. So you can definitely see the funeral services for Jamal Hinton, and that's going to be that's a tough one, no question about that. So we'll see what happens there. So Jamal Hinton's funeral coming up on Wednesday, April 14th, from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Unity Presbyterian Church at Temple Hills, Maryland. Now, some happier news, and maybe I go back to some sad news a little bit later on. But happy news. Number of Beltway amateur boxers, they took home titles at the recent USA Boxing National Championships in Shreveport, Louisiana this past week. Not an interesting situation here. One of the interesting situations was in the junior male 132-pound title bout. That turned out to be an all DC affair, believe it or not. And that's rare in a national tournament that two boxers from the same hometown would fight each other. But that's what happened. And Khalik Harrison, who is the son of really good boxer out of this area, Keith Harrison, who's training his son, he won a 5-0 decision over Marcel Steele of DC in the junior male 132 kg championship. So that's one of the championships. Marcus Luther of DC captured the intermediate male 119-pound championship with a 5-0 decision over David Lona of Texas. DC's Benjamin Johnson, he's been winning a number of tournaments over the last few years. He won a 5-0 decision over Juan Rivera of Pennsylvania to win the junior male 138-pound championship. Quincy Williams of Maryland, he took the youth male 152-pound championship with a 5-0 decision over Dominic Reed of California. Jamal Harvey, we've been talking about him. In fact, he is on his way to the Pan American Games, from what I hear, because of this victory. He won the elite male 125-pound championship with a very close 3-2 decision over Jonathan Mansour of California. Jordan Roach, the younger brother of Lamont Roach Jr. of Maryland, he won the youth male 108-pound championship with a 4-1 decision over Ryan Williams of Ohio. And among the locals that captured silver medals, along with Marcel Steele, were Patrick O'Connor of Maryland, Jeremiah Jimison of Maryland, and Brandon Chestnut of D.C. And we had a number of young locals who won championships. I didn't get a chance to get the names for them, but we have to honor them as well. Hopefully get the names for them as soon as we can. But again, the amateurs are doing well, and we're starting to hopefully get back into a situation where we can find some very elite boxers that may become champions down the road, amateur champions, and later on become pro boxers as well. So congratulations to all our amateurs at the recent USA Boxing National Championships in Shreveport, Louisiana. Finally today, as I like to do from time to time, pay tributes not only to wrestlers, but to people that have touched my life over the years, I should say. And one guy that has done that is a guy that I used to get up in the morning, get ready to go to my teaching days when I was teaching, and I taught for about a little over 10 years. And during the morning, I would watch Channel 4 News, which is the local news, WRC TV Channel 4, locally here in Washington, D.C. And I really don't watch a lot of local news these days. I don't know why, I'm quite honest with you. But, with the advent of CNN and MSNBC and I guess Fox News you can put in there too, although I never watch Fox News. But CNN and MSNBC, there's local news 24. I mean, there's news 24 hours a day, and so I don't watch a lot of the local news like I should. Another reason why I don't watch a lot of local news is because they really cut back the sports on all the news. The sports have very little time on there. They only do a couple stories and they're done. It used to be when I was growing up, sports was a regular part of the newscast, and they had a good long time. They had about 10 minutes, and I used to work at one of the stations, the CBS affiliate, which is now WUSA Channel 9. I used to work with the legendary Glenn Brenner and be one of his interns, and I saw what he did to prepare for his show, and he got a prominent primetime spot. As far as that's concerned, he when I say prime time, I mean he was featured heavily in the newscast, as was George Michael, the late George Michael over in WRC, late Glenn Brennan, late George Michael. They all had prominent parts of the newscast, the evening newscast. So I don't watch as much now because of that. I mean, I used to know everybody in the news business in this city. I used to know who they were, where they worked, and so forth. I don't know many now. But one person that I used to really like to watch in the mornings was a man by the name of Joe Krebs. Joe Krebs was the longtime morning news anchor on the NBC affiliate WRC Channel 4. He and Barbara Harrison were a team, were a morning news team from 1994 to 2010. And they were, on a regular basis, the number one morning team in the city. Much like NBC's evening team for many years, the late Jim Vance and Doreen Gensler, along with Bob Ryan and George Michael. They were easily the number one team in the city many years ago. And with in the mornings, it was Joe Krebs, Barbara Harrison, Tom Kirine did the weather, and I believe Jerry Edwards was the traffic guy. And so, this was something that happened. They watched him every morning. He was great. I mean, he gave the news very well. Now, he originally came over. He was in North Carolina for a while. Then he moved to Baltimore. He was on the WBAL, which is the Baltimore NBC affiliate. He was on WBAL. AL used to be on the Action News. He wasn't an anchor at that time. He was a crime reporter. He was a lawyer at one time. But when he came to Channel 4, he was a crime reporter first. And he used to cover some legendary stories. He covered the attempted assassination of President Ronald Reagan, by John Hinckley Jr. He covered so many other major crime stories in this region early on. And then in 1994, he became the morning anchor on NBC, on Channel 4. And he and Barbara Harrison made an outstanding team. They really did. And a lot of people, when I talked about Joe Krebs, I posted it on Facebook, a lot of people remember what he used to say at the end of every newscast in the morning. He just said, he waved his hand, he said, "Bye." And that was it. And everybody remembered that. It was very interesting to hear. Now, Barbara Harrison left that post, and she was replaced by An Yang, and they worked until 2012 when Joe Krebs retired. An Yang, by the way, is still on the newscast with Jimmy Olabanji on Channel 4. Now, Channel 4 is my go-to station in the morning. I don't watch anybody else but Channel 4, now honestly, and NBC. So that's just an aside. But Joe Krebs was really a great newscaster. I met him, I think the year before he retired, in 2011. I met him at they have NBC4, Channel 4 has an annual health and fitness expo. This year they did it virtually, of course, but they have a health and fitness expo every year, and all the news staff and sports staff and everybody from Channel 4 make appearances there. And one day I met Joe Krebs. Nice guy. Oh, he and I talked a little while, and it was really good. He's a nice person, very nice guy. He was a very nice guy, and I definitely remember that day when I met him. Now, a few years after he retired in 2012, he got the word that he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And I remember him saying, when they talked about this, when he talked about this with Channel 4, he said, "I'm going to try to live the best life possible." And he went on trips with his wife. He and his wife were married, I think, close to 50 years. And they have children, grandchildren, and he did try to live the best life. He worked with numerous charities and causes. He swam the Chesapeake Bay. He rode his bike for numerous causes, Food and Friends. He was really attached to the community, and it was really great to see that. And this past week, Joe Krebs did pass away of the pancreatic cancer. He was 78 years old. But really was someone I love to get up with in the morning, get ready for my day, and watch him. And when he just said, "Bah," it was time to go. It was time to go. Right before the 7 o'clock TV show today. And that was it. That was it. But he was a really good guy to talk to, and be a really good guy to watch on a regular basis on television. And we're going to miss Joe Krebs, who passed away at the age of 78. So I just want to throw that tribute in because, again, he touched me. He touched my life. And when people touch my life, I definitely have to give them their propers. No question about that. And that will do it for another edition of the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. Remember, the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network, brought to you as always by Real Time Pain Relief. You go to freepainoffer.com. Buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Now endorsed by two-time World Heavyweight Champion Big George Foreman. Try his knockout plan for Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. She has great weight loss tips, great jewelry, and great training methods, all at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world. The boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.